and welcome back to the Real Life Podcast, episode number 43. Happy New Year, it's 2026, it's the first pod of the year, and I get old this week as I turn 23 years of age. I know, horrific, but instead of doing anything to legitimately sort my life out, I thought I'd do a podcast about the closest thing I could think of to films about growing up. Coming of age movies. Now, thankfully I was in London this weekend so I could find my sister in person, because this topic is definitely more her thing than previous encounters, shall we say. The plans for the big New Year's pod did somewhat fall through, and I've also got a lot of films to get through before I can even consider bushwords and things like that, but I will get everything done, I promise, and I really do actually promise. There will be a big fun episode on the way, I promise. These films can divide people, but actually a lot of the time they're kind of films which a lot of people cite as their favourites. They're all about character arcs. They are one big allegory for them. They bring that element of storytelling right to the fore by making it a central focus, often on one character. They can have a reputation of being a bit mushy, overly tender, but when done right, they work handsomely, I think. Also, in related podcast news, Verity and I have started a new podcast together. It's called For the Plot, and we'll talk about what the premise is at the start of our chat today. But it's a lot of fun, and please go and have a search for it and a listen, because it's a big old silly thing, but it'll probably give you a bit of a giggle. So, in the meantime, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ramblings of my sister and I as we dive into our top 3 favourite coming-of-age movies. Hi, Verity.
Hi.
They're actually together.
I know, we're in the same room. Isn't that nice?
A rarity with Verity, because we're in the same room.
We're at my house.
We are. As I've mentioned in the intro, I get old this week.
You do?
I do.
Well,
old. In the avoidance of doing anything involving fixing my own life,
Yeah.
I thought what I did instead is do something really wanky with you and do
A podcast.
about specific type of films.
Yeah, sure.
Our entire morning seems to be dedicated solely to recording podcasts because...
Well, I say morning, it is now 12.
It is, whatever. We have a new podcast together. It's called For the Plot. Do you want to tell everybody what it's about?
Yeah, so we started a podcast with the two of us, which is... It's a little less formal than yours, I'd say.
Agreed.
But For the Plot is... it's a bit of a challenge, really. We have to set each other the challenge of writing a movie plot to fit a title that we give each other. But we've only got 15 minutes to think about it. So in that 15 minutes, we've got to come up with the beginning, the middle, the end, the synopsis, and then in the podcast we cast it together to see if we can convince the other one to kind of quote unquote commission that movie. It's quite a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. Actually.
We've done a few episodes so far.
I'm enjoying it.
And,
it's really good fun.
I think we've got something cool.
Yeah. As of recording this, episode 2 has just gone out. Yeah.
Episode 2 went out 2 days ago.
Right.
Yesterday, 2 days ago.
So listen to those, because there's been plenty more coming.
Yeah.
I was speaking to Matt, I think it was,
Yeah.
and he said something quite funny. He said the episodes with you of this are always a bit fucking chaotic.
Yeah, you are.
Because you never seem to be able to grasp the sort of structure of whatever the hell we're doing is.
Yeah.
Like, I'll say, don't talk about the film until we've both named it, and then 3 attempts later you're still going, hang on, when do I talk about this film?
Wait, are you talking specifically about the Harry Potter?
Well, that was a bit of a prime example.
The Harry Potter episode, I had no clue what was going on.
And then we'll do an episode on horror films, and it'll be you going, I don't really like horror films or watch them very much.
Yeah.
And then sort of the entire thing slightly falls apart. Yeah. He did mention, he was like, I was listening to the horror films one, and then I stopped listening to the horror films one. I was like, yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah. But I asked you about the format for this one.
You did, yeah. No,
and so now I feel like I know that in advance.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we're on the same page now.
Nice.
But that's why For the Plot works, because we're making it be chaotic.
That's quite nice.
Well, it reminds me of that bit of the Doctor telling Kazran Solek when he's about to kiss Abigail for the first time, just make it all shaky and rubbish and nervous, because you're going to be like that anyway, so you might as well make it part of the plan.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of a bit rubbish and nervous, I'm not nervous, but I might be rubbish because I've got very little voice today. So if I sound like I smoke many a day, it's the super flu.
It's the Dalek. Yeah. But yeah, go listen to For the Plot on all the socials and everything, because it's fun.
Yeah, it's really cool actually. I'm quite pleased with it.
I'm pleased with it as well.
Right.
Now, coming of age movies. Having been coming of age for my whole life,
You've quite frequently come of age.
I do quite frequently tend to sort of come of age. I'm still doing it now. I'm doing it right now.
I've heard that people do that.
The more time goes on, the more I think they resonate with me, and the more I think they're actually a bit underrated.
Okay.
Because they're actually a lot of people's favourite movies, and sometimes people view them as a bit cliched or a bit easy, and they can be if done badly. And Lord knows there's a million examples of really shitty ones, but the ones that land, that really work, they like really fucking work.
Yeah.
And it's because of the fact that every adult, I think, it's because of the fact that every adult has grown up. Maybe not in terms of character or, you know, mental capacity, and some of them end up, you know, running the United States and attempting to sort of conquer nations willy-nilly for no reason other than global capital profit and resource control. But, you know, most people have done some form of growing up, right?
Yeah.
And the films don't necessarily have to be about a teenager maturing, I think. They are more about an idea of self-actualization or realization. They're about a character progression. They're literally about becoming yourself, even if that looks a bit unusual or takes a weird turn or direction.
Yeah.
But that's why they land. They almost always feel good, you know, until they aren't. But the point of them is to see a character progress from one place to another and find their identity or their purpose and scrape away the facade that they've had on for however long, whatever. And I love that. I really love that.
Yeah, I have to admit, I think that coming of age movies are some of my favourite kinds of movies. Partially because I think it's really nice to see when people don't know. I really enjoy watching somebody like figure something out. It's why I quite enjoy, it's why everybody watches like crime dramas or thrillers of that nature, because they like learning something with a character and they like watching a character figure something out.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same with coming of age films. You have we all enjoy watching somebody figure out who they are, and we all enjoy watching somebody come to a realization of, oh, maybe this is right for me, maybe this is wrong for me. And I actually think that coming of age films are what I probably enjoy watching, or what I yearn to watch most.
Right.
Because I feel like identity fluctuates so much and it changes throughout your life, and it's quite nice to watch a physical demonstration of people like trying to figure out what they want to be.
That is kind of why I thought this would be a good topic for us to talk about, because I thought quite often you recommend me films that are more coming of agey than anything else.
I do recommend those.
They do. Right, so I have some honourable mentions.
Yes.
Now, it is worth saying, and I have briefed you on this, that when it comes to the actual list, I have a top 3 with a cheat. I have an undisputed GOAT, like zero arguments from me ever. It's always going to be the best coming of age film.
Okay.
But
So surely you're talking about that later.
yeah, I'm going to talk about that as the last thing.
Yeah, cool.
I've got a top 3, and number 1 is like, if I was to sort of take my belovedness maybe out of it, I'd still probably fight for the one that I think is a go. But I've got like a top 3 and then like an all-time undisputed. You know the way like It's a Wonderful Life is the best Christmas film, but like everyone's top 3 doesn't normally, like, you know, you have something else at the top.
For sure.
It's like it is inarguably the best one.
Yeah.
But everyone loves different things.
I understand.
Mine is like, I think it is inarguably the best one.
Yeah.
But there's lots of different things.
Okay.
So honourable mentions for
Yeah.
me. There's quite a few of these, but I'm just going to rattle them off.
No, go for it.
Easy A.
I have Easy A on my list.
Okay. Good. Great.
Yeah.
Perks of Being a Wallflower.
God, that's fucking outstanding.
It's just
yeah.
brilliant. Ladybird.
Yeah.
Dead Poet Society.
Yeah.
History Boys, which is essentially Dead Poet Society again. But Kes, I have.
I haven't seen it.
It's just delightful, proper old school, you know, classic British realist film. Brilliant. Boyhood, the film that was shot over 12 years.
Yes.
And then brilliant. And actually, Spider-Man Homecoming, because it feels like a John Hughes movie.
Interesting.
And it's not the best Spider-Man movie. I think the best Spider-Man movie outright is
They
probably...
they all have home in them. Which one's
That's
Homecoming?
the first Tom Holland one.
The one where...
With Michael Keaton and the Vulture and...
Michael Keaton and the one where Robert Downey Jr. is sometimes in the suit and sometimes not, and then he sends the suit when he's not there. Yeah, yeah.
And... Yeah, I think that film... It's not the best Spider-Man film. The best Spider-Man
Yeah.
film is Spider-Man 2, I think. The first Tobey Maguire, the sequel.
We'll agree to disagree, but okay.
It's not my favourite, but I think it's the best. But I think
Interesting.
Spider-Man Homecoming, as a coming-of-age film, is actually really good because it feels like a John Hughes movie.
Oh my god, I could genuinely do an entire podcast on my favourite Spider-Mans.
Sure we could. Easily.
Let's do that later.
Do you have any honourable mentions or not?
I have so many honourable mentions.
Here we go.
I'm currently deciding which one to switch out for
Perks of Being a Wallflower?
No. Well, no. So Perks of Being a Wallflower is in my honourable mentions. So, in my honourable mentions, I want to say, before I talk about my actual favourite films, I feel like a lot of these focus on the female experience. Partially because I actually think that there are more coming-of-age films about women.
I think that's probably true.
Whether that's because it's a more complex environment, because whether it's a more interesting thing to look at, or whether women are more open to talking about it and therefore there are more things made about it. Whereas men are like, I was young and now I'm old. And like, I don't know whether that's a massive stereotype, but like, it seems that there are slightly more films about women coming of age. So in my honourable mentions is Moonlight.
Amazing.
Because
film.
I think that incredibly encapsulates the like male adolescent experience as well. Mean Girls.
We all love it.
Mean Girls, I do think, is a coming of age movie.
Okay.
Because it's about a girl realising...
A girl going forth into the world.
A girl realising that she doesn't want to be this thing that she's actually wanted to be for... Like, since she arrived in this town. Like, she arrives in the town, she's like, I want to go to school, I want to have friends, I want to be popular, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden she's all these things and she's like, this is awful. Oh my God, this is not who I want to be. I need to go forth. Perks of Being a Wallflower, obviously. Outstanding. I'm going to swap. I had, the half one that we talked about. Basically, we've got 3 that are our favourites.
Yeah.
And then you've got one that you want to cheat.
Mine, yeah.
Yeah, so my cheat,
Okay.
I'm going to switch out.
Okay.
So the one that's going to go into my honourable mentions instead is Edge of 17.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
With Hayley Steinfeld and
that's the one, yeah.
and Woody Harrelson. And he is this incredibly downtrodden teacher, and it's all about the idea of adolescent angst. It brings up the themes of mental health in a very nuanced way that I feel that not all coming of age movies do. And also this feeling of like ownership over friendship.
Right.
So do you know the plot of the movie?
No.
So the plot of the movie is Hayley Steinfeld has a best friend. They do everything together. There's her brother is a couple of years older than her. There's a house party, everything kind of, classic teen house party. At this house party, a lot of mess is made. The next morning, her best friend is helping her older brother clear up. There's a bit of a romance there. Her best friend starts dating her brother. It sends her into this spiral of like, this person who I trusted, because she doesn't really like her brother. No. The person who I trusted most in the world, I've like lost this, it's not mine anymore. And what the fuck's going on? And she speaks to this teacher, Woody Harrelson, who is like, all I want is for my lunch break to be uninterrupted and for you to leave me alone. I have very few joys in my life.
Yep.
Fuck off, basically. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, I feel like I might touch on some similar stuff then.
Okay.
Because my number 3 on my actual list is 8th Grade.
Haven't heard of it.
You haven't heard of it?
Sorry, haven't seen it.
Right. Bo Burnham. That is all.
Yes. I know. Yes.
Written and directed by the man. It's so weirdly timely, despite that. I thought you'd be all over this.
I know. Honestly, it's a failing on my part.
It is a bit. I thought this would be a dead cert. It's very timely, despite the fact it was made 8 years ago. Christ. Technology and youth are a very, very difficult subject to broach well and deal with in film, particularly because most movies are made by older people who have no idea what a snappy chat is, and may your chats be snappy. So they tend not to land, but what we're dealing with here is Bo Burnham. It's so well written and observed. It's thematically poignant, it's painfully accurate, it's horribly uncomfortable, it makes you very sad. However, what it also does is sort of physically manifest the kind of things that a lot of young people actually can't articulate very well.
Yeah.
I also think the big benefit of this film is that it's an allegory for being a creative.
Okay.
The basic story is that this girl makes sort of positive, kind of reassuring, vloggy type videos that she puts on YouTube. And very, very few people watch them. Yeah. They get like between 5 and no views for most of the time. And then she goes through the whole teenage stuff of navigating that landscape. Particularly as a young woman, which obviously is very difficult. But the allegory for being a creative is that idea of trying, making something you feel proud of, putting a lot of effort into something all by yourself before realising that actually you're performing to either no one or very few people.
Right, okay.
And that is something I resonate with beyond belief, not having a go at the numbers of anything, but, you know, like big time. And, you know, with Bo Burnham, that theme of exploring the creative process and the space in which people make things and create art is a constant.
He's very good at diluting and making accessible the process of creation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very metatextual, I think, in a lot of what he does. And there is this argument which is, oh, he's so self-referential, it almost becomes annoying. It's just navel-gazing, which is an argument that I really don't believe in with Bo Burnham.
Okay.
I think his shtick is exploring the creative process as a creative. I think that's what he just does, and somebody has to, and I think he's genius at it. There's a thing I've heard Mark Kermode quote, I can't remember who said this to him, but there's the idea that if you give somebody a camcorder and stick them in a room, eventually they'll film their own arsehole. And it's this idea that eventually people will get so bored and self-infatuated that if there's nothing else to do, they will just film their own arse, right?
I don't...
No, I get it, because it's this kind of like...
Okay, but anyway, carry on, make your point.
Anyway.
Arsehole aside.
Yeah, it's so this idea that eventually people will make something so self-serving that it's, you know, going to be as extreme as that.
Yeah.
Bo Burnham isn't self-serving. I think he's explorative of a very, very real process. 8th Grade is a very, very strong piece of writing, primarily, but its direction is also kind of up close and personal. It's almost borderline invasive, which I really like. Yeah, it's calm in visually when it's quiet. It's proximal, which means that when it alters and bursts out, it really, really lands because it's sort of a big contrast to the rest of it. It is quite sad, but it ends in a better place, and it ends where you'd hope it should end. It is absolutely about autonomy over the self as well. The idea of explicit images being passed around is one of sort of the ultimate symbol of a loss of agency of control. It's a very big part of this film, particularly as the female teenage experience, you know. But it's handled with reality. It doesn't shy away. It doesn't half do anything. It doesn't reduce the perpetrators to sort of one-dimensional bully ha-ha characters. Like you feel the sort of ebb and flow of the emotional roller coaster that this character is made to go through by thinking that they can trust somebody and then not being able to trust them, and it's done in a very sort of real, painful kind of way. It's important, I think, as a film. It has wonderful performances from Elsie Fisher and Josh Hamilton, who play the daughter and the father. I love that relationship they have between the two of them, which is at the heart of it, and that's sort of the happy bit you get to at the end, is realising that relationship has remained untarnished and there are constants, and, you know, being a teenager, eventually you will get to a stage where at some point towards the end you will have to just remember that mum and dad are there, do you know what I mean? Or just dad in this case, but a lot of people could learn from it, like a lot. So, and also it's Bo Burnham. So it's a bit
I
of a
actually
winner.
don't think there's more of a genius on this earth.
Yeah, he's up there, isn't he?
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah,
so much.
So there you go, 8th Grade.
Incredible. I'm adding that to my list right now of things to watch. I know that you're starting with one of your 3. I'm going to start with my cheat one.
Oh, I thought you'd already done your cheat one. You swapped out your cheat one.
I swapped out my cheat one.
I see.
So my cheat one is Easy A.
Okay.
You've mentioned it. We both love it. I think it's incredible at like satirizing social norms and social hierarchy. I think it doesn't like present them as realistic. Like that's not a realistic high school that we're looking at, but it's an incredibly heightened, satirized version of a high school, which makes you see the flaws in the existing system.
Yeah.
Which I really like. The intelligence of the central character is valued above anything else, which is quite refreshing and not always the case. I think it was an early example of the intensity of cancel culture and like mobilizing against an idea of something while not knowing the facts. Obviously, you've got the literary reference to Scarlet Letter, which they actually reference throughout.
Right.
Do you want me to explain the plot of Easy A for those who don't know?
You can.
Okay, so the plot of Easy A is that a high school teenager doesn't want to spend the weekend at her best friend's house because her best friend's parents are nudists and weird. And so instead she makes up that she has a date on Saturday night and therefore she can't go. Because her best friend is like, yes, you need to go on this date, that's all fine.
Yeah.
But when it's asked about on Monday, in order to justify having not gone, she makes up that this date was really great. It's overheard by the head of the Christian society and her best friend wanting Olive, the central character, to kind of like get some, was like, oh my God, you slept with this guy, didn't you? You lost your virginity, you slept with this guy, that's amazing. Olive, like, denies it, but eventually just makes it up so that she can move on from this topic and continue not lying to her best friend. It's all overheard by the head of the Christian Society of school, and all of a sudden she is painted as this scarlet woman who all of the boys try and they put some attention on her. It slowly turns out that she then begins to pretend to do things with men because they want the impression that they themselves are a stud. I think it's a very clever retelling of the Scarlet Letter, of this idea of how promiscuity is incredibly frowned upon. I think there's some, obviously it's of its time in that there's some slightly outdated views of, oh, but it was okay because she didn't sleep with them.
Yeah.
I think technically that film would still, in today's society, that film would still be fine even if she had slept with them.
Yeah.
But I think that it's a funny retelling if actually she's getting like a Walmart gift card for, instead of, The phrase identifier is used in that film at first by Olive and by her best friend, but actually you realise that it's used about everybody. And everybody is referred to by a characteristic, by like a thing that they've done. And I quite like the idea of like, by the end of the movie, you've broken your idea of what the identifier is and what the thing is, and I think that's very demonstrative of grey area while people figure out who they are, the perception versus the reality. So I really like the satirizing of cancel culture and the promotion of intelligence and judgment of the central character.
It's also got the best dad in the history of cinema.
I also want Stanley Tucci to adopt me.
Yeah, we all do.
Oh my
We all
God.
do. It's brilliant.
What an icon, legend. Also, Lisa Kudrow needs a shout out in that movie.
Yeah, that's a winner. You can't go wrong.
Thank you.
I'm about to do something very wanky.
Oh,
Have you heard of a film called The Tree of Life?
no.
Okay. It's directed by Terrence Malick. Do you know who Terrence Malick is?
No.
Right. This is the most pretentious film you might ever watch. Ever. But I don't really care.
Okay. What's it about?
It's eventually about...
It's eventually about.
Thank you. A Texan family where the son, as an old man in 2010, looks back on his childhood, but it is told through the prism, sort of interspersed with the birth and death of the universe.
Yes, that does sound wanky.
Yeah, but it's amazing.
Okay.
So, I'm not a religious kind of guy, but this is about as close as I, as a cineast, will get to a sort of religious experience.
Okay.
And religion, if you are a religious person, is very much at the heart of this, and you'll get a lot of it on that basis for sure. It's made sort of unlike anything else you've ever seen. The story is interspersed with some of the most beautiful images you will ever see in a cinema. Ever. They're like... of the birth and the death of the universe? Sort of, yeah. People go, oh, why are there random screensavers all the time? No, fuck off. No. Because, come on, it's about embedding us as the audience in a feeling of, like, actual wonderment about what the universe is capable of itself. It's genuinely, like, equating life to broader existence within the universe. And I think it's beautifully made. It's about perspective. That's what the film is definitely at its core, about having perspective between yourself and your place within a wider context. Nature and nurture is very much at its core as well. The mother, who's played by Jessica Chastain, Jack, the main guy, describes as basically as endless nurture, right? She's kindness personified, she's affectionate, she's protective. His father, on the other hand, Brad Pitt, is nature, hot-headed, tough, stern, brutal. And then the death of one of the sons in the family, the three sons to begin with, and then one of them dies. That reveals so much about their true feelings, both of the parents. The dad is stuck in a dead-end job. He wants to be a musician, but his job doesn't really allow him enough time to, and that makes him incredibly frustrated. The mother is actually stuck under a patriarchal husband, and she cannot move from under his thumb. They're in complete disagreement over how to raise their children. Like, complete disagreement. He is very much kind of stern way, brutal. They will learn through experience, and, they'll work out what is right. You are too soft on them. Versus, there are kids. Why can we not be kind to them? Why can we not look after them and be nurturing and affectionate to them? What I love is Jack's questioning as to which parent he most resembles. It doesn't occur to him at any point that he might be able to be a combination of the two.
That's really nice.
he has to kind of assume that he must be one or the other. And because at one point he starts to have a bit of a rebellious streak and does some shitty things, he decides that he must be like his dad. Like, he outright says it. His dad says to him when they're leaving the family home for the last time, he sort of sighs and has a bit of self-reflection, going, you know, I don't think I behave very well. You take after your mother. And he means it as a compliment. And Jack says, no, I take after you. I know I do. And just like rejects that outright. And I think that's fascinating. There's also a bit in this where dinosaurs happen.
Sorry, what?
We literally see the birth of the universe, the beginning of life, some dinosaurs having empathy with one another. He's about to kill it and then he doesn't. And then a giant fuck-off asteroid hitting the planet. And it doesn't feel out of place. It's a bit of a jolt, but it doesn't make you go, what's that doing there? It actually ties in with everything so well. It's unbelievable.
I think it's something that I will probably have to see in order to understand.
Describing this film's quite difficult.
Yeah.
But when you
I like
watch
all
it,
of the individual elements of what you're saying about the coming of age stuff. But then you're like, and dinosaurs are there. And I'm like, now you've lost me.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel rogue because you know how in Oppenheimer,
Right.
there's lots of little images of like atoms colliding or like fire emerging or sort of things moving in rotation. Those little itza shots you get.
Yeah, you get the kind of return to the same moment.
Yeah, and occasionally there'll be like, well, it looks like loads of like orange atoms rotating in a circle, just as a shot, just as a break in between, whatever. I'll bet any money that Nolan watched this and was incredibly inspired by it, because this does that, but in a much grander, kind of bigger, beautiful way. Okay. It's about as Terrence Malick as it's possible to Terrence Malick, which for some people is always a bit of a turn off because he can be quite pretentious.
Oh, yeah.
But in this instance, it's so kind of ethereal, I don't really care. It does all this big broad stroke stuff, still ends up being about the character of Jack, navigating who he is through the prism of contrasting characters of his parents. You question religion, faith, belief in whatever guiding structures or powers you have. It is brilliant whilst being pretentious and wanky in the extreme, but it was the year that everything lost the Oscars to the artist because Harvey Weinstein existed. And I think a lot of people would quite contentedly have seen this win a lot of things.
It sounds like an existential crisis waiting to happen. But
I'm interested. But in a really good way.
Okay.
And it makes you question a lot about your own sadness, about how you have... It gives you a sort of sense of perspective within your own feeling about your broader place within the universe and your relational, presence within that amongst other people that you're with. It's absolutely fascinating.
Good to know.
So there you go.
I shall have to investigate.
You shall. But that's my big wanky one.
I like that.
Go on.
I'm not going to talk very much about my first one.
Okay.
Because I've talked about it on the pod before.
Okay.
And I don't really want to repeat myself too much. But Miseducation of Cameron Post. Because partially I think I really related to this because it's an LGBT book. And I think it's something that really encapsulates this idea of a found family, choosing your family. And I'm very lucky in that I have a family that I love and that I care about. But I know so many people who don't have that. And being able to choose your family and choose the people that you feel safest around and choose the people that you want to spend your time with, I think is something that's so important to the LGBT community. And I think that the Miseducation of Cameron Post demonstrates that really well. I've mentioned it before, but I'll give a kind of Spark Notes plot. It's about a young woman, a teenager, I think she's sort of 16, 17, who is sent to a conversion therapy camp by her parents after they discover that she's been in a secret relationship with a girl at school. It's very nuanced, it's very fly on the wall, the acting is so naturalistic. We talked about it when we were talking about direction, in the way that we just feel like you're kind of watching something so intimate that you're in that room, but you feel like you're intruding by just watching. And it's, again, it follows this theme of coming of age because it's all about a girl trying to battle what she knows is right for her, but when other people are telling her that that's wrong. And the contrast between gut and exterior. It's that all of these children, essentially, are trying to do the right thing by what everybody is telling them around them. But equally, there's such a strong gut feeling about who they are and who they're meant to be and what they want to be, that's breaking out at points. And I think it's like what you say about sort of nature versus nurture. You can try and influence as much as you want onto a person, and yet they're still going to have an inherent part of themselves, they're still going to have an inherent personality or love or belonging that they feel and that they need to present. There's another film called But I'm a Cheerleader, where again we're looking at sort of a kind of conversion therapy style situation. It's a comedy, but it's making quite a lot of social commentary, and RuPaul is this
Right.
It's one of the best acting roles.
Social commentary, observe.
It's one of the best acting that RuPaul's ever done, but I say that with obviously the strongest handful of salt.
Yeah.
In that, let's not lie that RuPaul isn't an Oscar-worthy actor. But
Well, it's John Bishop's best role.
but RuPaul isn't the main thing in this.
Yeah.
But it's not like that in that nothing's over-egged, nothing's really obvious. It's up for you to decide, and it's so obviously up for these kids to decide like who they want to be and to try and figure out and battle it. And I mean, spoilers, but it ends with them leaving this camp. And it's a small group of them who decide that they've found themselves, this is who they want to be, they want to reject what's been forced upon them. And
Are we talking about miseducation?
And they end up, that's the found family that they have. They're going to stick together, they're going to move, they're going to be there for each other where their initial family is, and this world that they've been put into has not been there. And I think the ability to break out of what other people are telling you is what makes it a coming of age film.
I like it. I still haven't watched it, but I really want to because it sounds sad but great.
It's very uplifting,
Yeah.
Surprisingly uplifting.
That's good.
The longer you watch it.
Okay, good. All right, well, I'm on to my number one.
Yeah.
But as I say, it's got, the way I was describing it was like, you know how It's a Wonderful Life is the Christmas film?
You're on to number one. I have two to go.
Yeah, but I've got my cheating.
Oh, but you've got your cheating after number one.
Yeah.
That's fine, we're on track.
As we discussed before.
Yeah, I know, but I
Sorry, is this Verity having structural problems with the podcast?
No, it's not.
Well, it
I
is.
just wanted to double check because you said... Anyway, right, keep going.
I said, whatever. It's kind of like how It's a Wonderful Life is the best Christmas film, but everyone has their own favourite. It's that sort of thing.
I don't believe that It's a Wonderful Life is the best Christmas film, but continue.
Well, you're wrong.
Okay.
My number one on the list, as it were, is Richard Ayoade's Submarine.
When I say I haven't heard of it, I mean I haven't heard of it.
You haven't heard of it? You don't know it exists?
I'm sorry.
It's fantastic.
Tell me about it. What's the plot?
Directed by Richard Ayoade. British indie.
Right.
Nailed to a T. Sign me up. It's so sweet. It's very Richard Ayoade. It's a sort of awkward story of love and understanding of coming to terms. Essentially, the story is that Oliver, played by Craig Roberts, who we are now enjoying very much in Can You Keep a Secret? Becomes infatuated with a girl at school, a very mysterious girl called Jordana, who's played by Yasmin Page, who was the girl from Sarah Jane Adventures. What was her name? Maria. This is their sort of very young age here. Right. This is 2010, I think this came out.
Oh, peak CBBC era.
Yeah, absolutely. He becomes infatuated with her, and the way he sort of impresses her to begin with is by bullying a girl that she's also bullying. So it's just a sort of, and then it works, right? And then they sort of become a bit of an item.
We've all done that though.
Yeah, but at the same time that that's going on, Oliver is worried about his parents' marriage falling apart. At the same time, Jordana's mother is very ill. And at one point, she says, will you come and see her with me in hospital? Because she's about to have this operation. We don't know if she's going to make it. Will you come? And he goes, yeah, of course I will. But then the time comes and he realises that there's something he needs to do to stop his parents' marriage from falling apart, he thinks. So he doesn't go with her. And he focuses entirely on saving his parents' marriage. His mother, by the way, is played by Sally Hawkins. And she's potentially having an affair with Paddy Considine, who plays a sort of a free-spirited not like yoga master, but sort of wellness spirit free guy. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. And it's brilliant. Anyway, Oliver's tunnel vision really gets tested in the whole thing when he fails to turn up to Jordana's mother's, ill bed. Up until that point, he'd been infatuated with her. And then he gets so focused on fixing his parents' marriage and making them reconcile that he literally loses himself. He pills up. He breaks into Paddy Considine's house. He sort of trashes the place, and then Paddy Considine has to drop him off home, slightly pathetically. I love everything about it. The script is amazing. It's very funny. It's sort of kind of neurodivergent in a really nice way, and Craig Roberts' narration and all that stuff that comes with it really feeds into that very nicely. I haven't read the book that it comes from, but I maybe should, because it's a lot of fun. It really captures that teenage boy thing. I don't know if you'll relate to this, you might actually.
I am a teenage boy.
No, but of finding a slightly mysterious girl and just being like immediately infatuated to the point of doing something you'd never normally do. Do you know what I mean? And by the end of it, you realise that was never the way to go about anything, of course. But I love the innocence of it. It's not naivety. It's not even close, but it is like teenage wonder innocence. Sure. And I really love that. And there's several sequences where it looks amazing. Richard Ayoade has a voice. Like, he really knows how to piece something together. He did another film called The Double with Jesse Eisenberg, where there's two Jesse Eisenbergs, which again is like, no matter sort of, some of the plot elements are a little bit weird, but like the way that it moves as a storytelling piece is absolutely brilliant. And this is exactly the same. There's a sequence where they're sort of running around an old sort of abandoned fair. Oh, it all takes place in Swansea. Like an old sort of abandoned little crappy travelling fairground. And one of them has a flare and it all moves in slow motion. And it's just so beautiful. It looks absolutely amazing. It's very moving as well. The performances are stellar. Craig Roberts and Yasmin Page are both actually perfectly cast, and to have Sally Hawkins and Paddy Considine as reinforcements, you're not going to go wrong, are you? It just pulls at my heartstrings a lot, and whilst it's not as grand as The Tree of Life, it's a much smaller, contained story. And side note, spoiler, they have been having an affair, right. Really. It's entertaining despite the fact that it's an easy watch and the colours of it are often dull and grey. It plays, because I think that both of the characters, Oliver and Jordana, are both a bit neurodivergent, and so there's this kind of beautiful awkwardness to all of their interactions, which makes it all feel
very Ayoade.
Yeah, but it makes it all feel a little bit faceless and dull and grey. Obviously it isn't, there's a lot of stuff happening under the surface, but those colours really work, and then when it bursts out, as it does with Lysine with the flare and everything, you see all of their colour come out, and it's absolutely beautiful. It just, it really does make you think, Swansea. It just doesn't miss. I'm obsessed with it as a piece of independent cinema, and I kind of wish that he'd kept doing stuff like that, because it's top notch.
What is it about the film that you really identify with? What is it that makes it really close to your heart?
It's this kind of young blokes, I think, getting tense tunnel vision on whatever the big issue of the day is. Sure. And the second he has more than one thing to deal with, he just completely collapses. Yeah. And what's nice about it is that it. Normally, I'm a fan of show don't tell, and trust the audience to understand what you're getting at. But having him being a narrator actually reinforces quite a lot of the things that you wouldn't maybe have understood from a first glance, and it doesn't feel overbearing or rubbish. This is one of the best examples of narration, I think, in a film, and particularly because it does come with a sort of neurodivergent element to it. There's not everyone that can get into that headspace, so it does sort of help to sort of reinforce everything that you're seeing and some of the imagery and everything like that. So, but it's just so sweet. It's so innocent and sweet and like silly, but in a kind of I could watch this for hours sort of way.
Nice.
It's not long, and it's I love Richard Ayoade, so
it sounds fun.
It's really fun.
I like the idea of that.
That's the coming of age film, bar the other one that I'm about to talk about, is like that I've sat and gone, that's the closest I've seen to my experience. Because a lot of the time they can be a bit Americanized and a bit kind of, there's no such thing as jocks and sororities at school here, and there's no such thing as parties with the red cups, and oh my god, I slept with this guy. There's a slight sort of culture shift, I think, with the UK, and that's why I like this a lot.
I understand that. I think quite a lot of the coming of age movies that we sell off store by are very American, and you have to, as a British person, take that with a bit of a pinch of salt of like, oh well, I know that we don't tend to have these kind of house garden parties that are filled with college kids.
Certainly not in the same way. No.
So, certainly not in the same style, at least. But that sounds really nice. I like it.
Go on then. What's your number 2?
My number 2. So I feel like quite a lot of the films that I deem coming of age films are films that I've watched as I have been growing up, and things that I set a lot of store by because perhaps they coincided chronologically with me figuring out what I wanted to be as a person and who I am. But this one is not. This is one that I've seen later, and that's Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Right. Which I also think you've spoken about on this podcast before.
I probably have. I think it's exceptional. I think it encapsulates girlhood really well. It's on the cusp of teenhood. It's, instead of it being what a lot of coming of age movies are, in my opinion, which is teenhood into adulthood. How do I kind of what's that Taylor Tomlinson quote? It's like, how do I clean all the trash out of the lake before it freezes over and I become the person that I'm going to be for the next, you know. This is someone who's leaving childhood and becoming a teenager, basically, and trying to figure out, who do I want to be? How you know, there's this whole narrative about puberty and developing fast enough, or being able to be liked by boys, or all this kind of stuff, and that incredible excited giddiness of early teenhood. And I'm not a very religious person, but the focus that's on religion, I think, is done very cleverly. At no point is it pushing an agenda on you, but it's a little girl exploring who she wants to worship. And there's a constant theme of black and white. You have to focus on this, you have to be this thing. And that's because she comes from this family that have been broken up by religion. Her mum and her mum's family have been Christians. Her dad and her dad's family are Jewish. And so her mum's parents now don't speak to the family, because she married a Jew. And because religion has, in a way, broken up the family in its extremism, in its absolutism, she now takes this worldview of, well, I have to be one religion. What am I going to be? And her mum, who is played by Rachel... Oh my god, The Notebook, Mean Girls. McAdams, thank you.
Rachel, actor Canadian.
Rachel, shut the fuck up. Has said to her, we always said, to your parents, you get to pick who you want, what you want to worship and who you want to be, because the absolutism is what broke up my relationship now with my parents. She gets all of these different experiences of going to all of these different churches and all of these different houses of worship for so much of the movie, as she's figuring out, you know, am I going to be like a girl, and am I going to fancy people, and am I going to grow up and go to camp, and what if I get my period at camp, and like, is this exciting, is it scary? She's also trying to figure out, what absolutist thing am I going to worship and focus on and dedicate my time and life to? And by the end of the movie, she realises that actually the whole thing is grey. I'm not sure which one I want to focus on, but I know that I think there is a God. But I don't necessarily believe that I'm going to focus on Christianity or Judaism or Buddhism, or, you know, I believe in a higher power, I believe in spirituality, but I'm figuring out where that comes. The film portrays a very insular feeling of the whole world being about the exploration of what your whole world should be. And that's a very clever way to approach the mind of a child.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds great.
That's my number 2.
Well, I want your number 1.
Before you give yours?
Yeah.
Okay. My number 1 is Lady Bird.
I mean, do we even need to say?
I know. It's
Greta Gerwig.
It's my favourite
There you
film of all time.
Yeah.
Mother-daughter relationship. I think that there's not 1 inch of that mother-daughter relationship that you can't relate to on some level. No matter your gender, no matter your upbringing, like, the expanse of that relationship is so relatable.
Jumping out of the car will never not be funny.
So good.
It's this kind of, well, you are a fucking waste of space, aren't you? Don't jump out of the car! And then, you know, it goes from kind of completely done mother to, like, oh my god, my baby, within literally, like, millisecond. I love it.
The moment I really like is when they're shopping for her prom dress, and they're having like a proper argument in the aisles of this shop, and they're like, oh my god, I can't believe, isn't this perfect? Oh my god, that would be beautiful, you look amazing in that. And it's that moment of, it doesn't matter what's happened before, because we'll always be mother and daughter, but equally that's the most difficult relationship to navigate, because it's controlling yet rebellious, and yet so loving and caring. I think it's a demonstration of self-identity, trying to literally rename yourself. her renaming herself Ladybird to try and create such a vivid form of identity. And again, it's the absolutism, removing that at the end, introducing herself as Christine at the end, and removing this very forced image that she'd created of herself as Ladybird with very specific intentions. It's all about authenticity and not necessarily creating what you want to be, absolutely, but also allowing who you are at the same time. The ideas of class, place, and how that plays into social norms and love, and also trying to hide who you are around people that you don't think want to know you, that idea of class. And the truth is that she's not a particularly likeable person for a lot of the movie, but you relate to her in unfathomable ways.
I love the throwing up in New York party. I love that.
It's perfect.
It's so great.
And wanting so much to steer clear of what your parents instill in you. So like her mother's religion, for example, wanting to steer clear of that and never go to church. And the name that her mum gave her, and not wanting to like become one of your parents. But then actually, as soon as you're allowed out of your own free will, recognising the similarities, recognising what they gave you, recognising how you want to present because of what they have been. Yeah,
but I think she uses place a lot to kind of bring that up, because by the end of it, the reconciliation is almost sort of with Sacramento rather than necessarily with her mother. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the shift in space to New York represents quite a lot of like a big diversion from who she was initially, and then the sort of coming of age bit to me is the sort of coming to terms with that relation to Sacramento still being a present and constant part of her, and not being the kind of thing she needs to shy away from. She doesn't have to sort of
literally
embody it, but she doesn't have to run away and pretend it didn't exist. And I really like that.
I agree. I think it's the writing is also perfect for the nothing is important as me right now kind of teen feeling. I think we've all had that moment of genuinely, it's like that moment in Derry Girls where they're performing on the stage at the end of season 1, and their parents are gathered around the television watching the awful political atrocities that are happening, and they are they're dancing in a school showcase.
It's a Family Guy gag where they're watching some school drama, and the guy slams his locker and walks away from his mate, and he goes, "Problems at high school, these problems matter." Well, sure they do, but
no, legit. I like that whole theme of taking ownership of one's personhood, but also realising later down the line that you can let go of what you want yourself to be as well.
Stellar cast as well, because Saoirse Ronan does like amazing work.
Unbelievable acting.
And then you've also got Timothy Chalamet, Lucas Hedges, and
Beanie, Feldstein. Just all of it. I there's not one moment of that film that has gone to waste.
Yeah, no complaints from me.
Thanks.
Do you want to hear why?
I want to hear what your little
my little cheat
is. Yeah.
So it technically means that I've lied to you in this podcast with something I said earlier.
Okay. You said what? It's a Wonderful Life is the best Christmas movie.
No, that still stands.
No. Okay.
It is the Christmas film, Wonderful Life. It just is. Anyway.
Right. Not sure.
I know it was a different lie I told you.
Right.
About what the best Spider-Man film is, because the best coming of age film is actually Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
And it's the best Spider-Man film. It's the best Spider-Man film. It's my favourite coming-of-age film because it's so fucking cool. Not just as a story, right? Number one, you get the Hispanic Miles Morales. You get, finally a superhero that isn't just... Yes, he's from Queens, but actually has some sort of ethnic diversity to him. And isn't a stereotype of anything. It's a very well-observed family dynamic. You have this idea at the central heart of Into the Spider-Verse, which I love, which is anyone can wear the mask. You don't have to be anybody in particular to be this superhero. It is the opposite, and we've had this conversation before, it's the opposite, even if you've not seen it, of The Rise of Skywalker, where at the end we find out that Rey isn't from nowhere, but Rey is a Skywalker. And you go, right, so this whole film about Rey from nowhere being able to be a Jedi and being able to, have the Force and do incredible things, actually reverse that. She's a Skywalker.
Right.
It's the elitist people are the elite again.
Right.
And you go, what the fuck was the point of that? Ratatouille, anyone can cook.
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh my god, is Ratatouille a coming of age film?
It might be. It may well be.
Who knows?
But Into the Spider-Verse, anyone can wear the mask.
Yeah.
And Miles Morales is an awkward... He's so relatable as a character. It starts off with him literally singing a song he doesn't know all the words to. We've all fucking done that. We all sit in our rooms and sing something which is a little bit, maybe one octave too high, or we don't know the full words for. But he's singing there, drawing away, having a good time. He's an awkward human being. He's not anything particularly stand out, apart from the fact that he's very, very clever. And it's about... He uses the people around him in his environment to build his character, a sense of who he is. The revelation, I think, that tugs most in this film is that Uncle Aaron was the Prowler, right?
Right.
You don't get a kind of the death of Uncle Ben bit in this film. The revelation actually is the death bit is the death of Peter Parker, when he meets him after the first time, and the discovery that Uncle Aaron is the Prowler. This guy who he had actually started to idolise and be...
I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah.
He suddenly has to realise that, like, oh God, that shaped my entire identity of who I thought I was going to be, who I was modelling myself on. I can no longer do that. And the Peter Parker that he does meet is overweight, is completely...
It's Nick from New Girl.
Yeah, exactly. He's particularly like nihilistic, doesn't believe in himself, doesn't believe he can do anything. Then they do the most astonishing thing, and also the film looks fucking incredible. The amount of effort it takes to do that is utterly ridiculous, and there's 5 people directing it, so you've got a 5-headed monster to deal with it as it is. And they pull it off absolutely perfectly. It's really funny as well. Yeah. There's a great bit where Miles is about to he's on the top of a building and he's looking down, he's thinking, right, I'm going to do it. I know how to get down. And the music swells, and then hard cuts to him running down the steps. Yeah. Because he was like, no, can't do it. It's so great. And then the reinforcement of anyone can wear the mask is you get all of the different Spider people. Yeah. You get Spider-Gwen, you get Spider-Pig, you get the noir Spider-Man played by Nicolas Cage, which is really funny. Sometimes I let matches burn down on my fingers just to feel something. And you get the robot and everything, and it's so nicely done. And what it as well is like, it is effortlessly diverse without making a big thing of it. Like Doc Ock switching to become a woman doesn't matter. It's just the story. It makes no difference whatsoever. And you get the ridiculousness of the wideness of Kingpin. I don't quite know how a skeleton's supposed to work, but and the music and the soundtrack and Daniel Pemberton and all of that, there's not a beat missed in Into the Spider-Verse. I genuinely don't think it falters like anywhere. Spider-Man itself is inherently a coming of age story. That's kind of the point of Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is the definition of that within the Marvel
With great
universe.
power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
And he gets his power and he does incredible things with it. Also, he then gets to sort of kind of fall in love.
Yeah, that's true. No, it's a really brilliant movie, and it's an excellent demonstration of coming of age and trying to figure out who you think you should be and who you want to be. And yeah, I really like Into the Spider-Verse. I think what the Spider-Verse tells me is that it's coming of age, but for any age.
Yeah.
Like, you have the Peter Parker who comes into it, who he still has a sort of coming of age moment despite him being very much of age.
Yeah.
Or equally, you like you say, anyone can wear the mask. But equally, anyone can have this crisis of identity and this crisis of what they believe in and who they believe they are. Which is what's quite nice about the Spider-Verse is that not only anybody can wear the mask, but also anyone can fuck up in the mask, which is quite nice.
Yeah. But also with Uncle Aaron, the sort of the siren sound, that little that happens whenever he kind of prowls around, is used as a musical riff in a song called What's Up Danger.
I have that on my gym playlist.
It's brilliant.
So good.
And what that song is initially, What's Up Danger would be the kind of greeting that Aaron would give Miles when he saw him. And it becomes like, I'm not safe. It becomes like, I am danger. And it changes completely. And when Miles has to deal with that. And there's so many little elements of stuff like that where, those little clips and motifs has changed into the broader context of the whole thing. And it does make you think that, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, we want to make a Star Wars film this way. Disney say, no, you're sacked. and then they make this, and you go, yeah, I think you probably missed out a bit, actually.
Yeah.
I think you probably would have benefited from these two being in charge, but, never mind.
No, I like that one. That was
So,
good.
yeah, I mean, it's obviously, it's not the undisputed GOAT, but, like, I can't find
A fault.
a fault.
I understand that.
And also, Spider-Man as a sort of cliche is coming of age,
Yeah.
full stop.
Absolutely.
So,
I definitely agree with that.
yeah.
No, I think also, all the films we've talked about, lots of the things that highlight coming of age are something that you can relate to because you've been through it, but because everybody's flawed. And it's the same in Spider-Verse, each character has their own individual
Worries and flaws and things,
flaw,
yeah.
Something that they're missing, something that they want, that kind of thing. And the purpose, I believe, of coming of age films isn't that somebody's fixed at the end or somebody knows inherently who they want to be, but it's that they've gone through a process of getting closer. And that's why I think coming of age films are my favourite kind of films. And that's why Lady Bird is at the top of my list of films that I will love forever and ever and ever, and
sure.
will never be beaten.
Okay, well, on that note then, shall we do a brief rundown of just our top
Go for
of our lists? Just naming them. So your little extra one was...
My little extra one was Easy A.
Okay. At number 3, I had Bo Burnham's 8th Grade.
At number 3, I had The Miseducation of Cameron Post.
Lovely. At number 2, I had The Tree of Life by Terrence Malick.
Number 2, I had Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
And number 1, I had Richard Ayoade's Submarine.
Number 1 was Lady Bird for me.
And I then chucked in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse by Phil Lord, Chris Miller, and others. Cool. That was fun. That was useful. And it was nice to do something I think that was a bit more your territory.
Yeah.
Going, what about horror films, Verity? Well, I don't watch any of them.
I don't watch any horror films, Dom, and I don't like horror films.
Yeah. Right, well, thanks, Verity.
Thanks, Dom.
Should we do one of our joint pods now?
Yeah, why not?
Cool. All right, well, go listen to that because there'll be lots happening and it's very fun. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.